Hi, my name is Laura Guerra, and I'm the owner and publisher of Angel Share Magazine. And we are here today in downtown Santa Rosa at Jack and Tony's Restaurant and Whiskey Bar with Jack Mitchell, who's the proprietor and chef of this restaurant. Since we're in wine country, I think it's really interesting what we're doing today because we're actually pairing whiskey with food instead of wine with food. So Jack, let me ask you, what is the difference, or how does it differ, pairing food with whiskey versus doing wine and food pairing?
You know, it's really very similar, both with the different varietals of wine and the different styles of whiskey. They speak towards using different ingredients and techniques that would pair up with the cuisine.
Jack, I know that you have taken part in the barrel program at Rosa's distillery in Kentucky.
I got to try literally as many as I wanted to. We found some nice barrels after like the second round of samples and pulled the trigger on it, and 6 weeks later they shipped out the barrel empty and about 30 cases of whiskey.
Do you think we should drink a little bit of the whiskey first before?
I would. You know, it opens up the palate and gets you ready for a nice bite. You've had this before, and I drink it every day, and it never gets old.
Since we are going to be tasting our food and bourbon together to see how they pair well, can you tell us what this dish is that you prepared?
Absolutely. It's house-cured salmon on corn cake with chipotle crema. We drizzle a little bit of our house-made chili sauce and some onions we call tumbleweed onions. They're just deep fried, very crispy. They're like a little tumbleweed in the background.
This looks so good. It's really good.
A little bit of spice to it from the chipotle as well as the red chili sauce.
I actually had some of the bourbon while I had the food in my mouth, and it's very good. It works either way.
And crispy, crunchy things are always good with whiskeys, both with scotches and bourbons. You know, we've got a variety of whiskeys from all over the world, and some of them lend themselves to food pairings better than others. Bourbon, I find, really works well with desserts. Like a caramelized apple tart can be really nice, especially with you know, a high-proof sort of dessert aperitif-style bourbon. Irish whiskey as well. We actually use some Irish whiskey in several of our desserts in the restaurant. So
I noticed that when I was tasting this dish, and after I took a sip of the bourbon, it seemed like the spices were working together. So what was actually taking place here in my mouth?
Well,
yeah, I mean, I know everyone's palate's different, but I mean, how would you describe the pairing of this dish?
Yeah, well, foods and drink, either wine or whiskey, are meant to either compare or contrast or complement themselves. And this is a high ride, relatively spicy bourbon, fairly assertive proof at 100 proof, 50% alcohol. So that's really bringing out some of the spices in the food that might not have been there if you were drinking this with a glass of Chardonnay or something. That might mute some of the spice flavors.
Well, Jack, we'd like to thank you for joining us today.
You're very welcome.
And sharing your whiskey with us and your knowledge about pairing whiskey and food.
Happy to.
Thank you so much.
See you soon.
Cheers.